The following content may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is sponsored by Misterfrostee, the tri-state area's #1 adult frozen fruit beverage. Tap in.
It's the #1 adult
Frozen
fruit
beverage
That's
of the
what's up.
tri-state area. Misterfrostee. I'm going to open mine.
I guess I should open mine too. Is this whole thing mine? I'm driving.
You'll be fine by the time you leave.
How long is this?
Hopefully.
It's called Misterfrostee? No, not
Mr. Frosty.
Misterfrostee. Like the ice. No, it wasn't what the ice cream
like the
truck
ice
was
cream,
called.
man.
I don't drink. Just so the audience knows. If I get crazy because of this,
This is
it's
delicious.
because.
This is delicious, Mr. Frosty. Take some. Well,
Oh, it actually is good.
I told you.
I was gonna lie, for your sponsor, but it's good. Good
I
job.
told you.
Good job, Mr. Frosty.
Mr. Frosty.
I see why it's the #1 adult
Frozen
frozen
fruit
beverage.
beverage
Fruit
of the tri-state
of the
area.
tri-state area. I can see that now. I'm sorry.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Thomas Cooksey, and this is a new addition to the RDD podcast. I have a special guest with me today. His name is Lavarro Jones. Lavarro Jones is the talented editor, director, and writer, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and political activist. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the RDD podcast, The Director's Chair, featuring Lavarro Jones. Lavarro Jones, how are you? How you been?
Philanthropist. What's that word again?
Philanthropist.
Philanthropist. I have like somebody's walked up to me in the street and said, "Hey, I need like money," and I've taken them into Rite Aid and like bought stuff for them. So I think that's say the
No,
word.
that's panhandling.
Oh,
It's panhandling.
but I might not be a philanthropist.
Yeah.
But
So
all
have
that
you
other
been?
stuff- I've been good, man.
How's life post-pandemic and during pandemic? Because it's been a while.
Yeah, life. Are we post-pandemic? I guess we can call it that.
I mean, we're close enough that we don't have
Yeah,
masks,
this is definitely
so
not a pandemic table. I just want to point
it's a
that out.
pandemic push.
This is
sponsored by the pandemic
Yeah.
also.
But no, life is. I'll just say life has been great. Now, my life wasn't that bad during the pandemic either. I mean, I got like hit by a car, but other than that, it was fine. Like I was making movies still and working.
Even in a wheelchair, we saw you.
Yeah.
We saw you.
It was a good time.
How was that?
Making the movie in a wheelchair?
Yes.
It was challenging. The thing is, I was about to make the movie that I made in that wheelchair, and then I got hit by a truck, and then so I had to wait a while. So I scheduled the movie to happen the day that I was supposed to get out the wheelchair, but I only had to work in it really one day. The other days I could walk, so it wasn't that bad. It was annoying having to roll myself around when I definitely felt like I could walk, but the doctors are saying I shouldn't. So other than that, it was good. People bring you stuff. It's nice.
That was peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a director.
Yes.
What inspired you? Well, you're a director, writer, everything I said before.
Yep.
But what inspired you to get into directing? Like, what was that thing?
I initially wanted to be an actor, but I didn't like the idea of auditioning and basically asking other people if I can act. So I said, I'll just learn how to make movies myself, and then I could just put myself in it. And then in the process of learning how to make movies, I fell in love with that process. So I just continued to do that. But I like stories. I like telling stories, and I feel like, everybody will probably say this about their perspective art form, but I feel like movie making is the ultimate storytelling tool. So that's why I chose it.
Well, we all like movies. We all like watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a reason why you said I want to be on the other side of the camera?
It's about, I like to tell stories. I definitely like watching stories for real, but I like to tell stories. I like the idea of, especially on a movie where you pulling so many different people together to make one thing, and there's so many dreams that are being realized when you making movies. The actresses realizing their dream, the director of photography, the director, like everybody's really most of the times when when you're working in film and working on movies, you're there because you definitely want to be there, because I don't think will do this. It's not I'm just doing this for a check type thing to work on a movie. Like everybody who's there, like really wants to be there. I don't know. Maybe there's some people who don't.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know a couple that just.
But when you started, the initial reason why you wanted to be in this business, it was because you wanted to. It wasn't something like you fell into. It was like, oh, I guess this is what I'm doing now. So
Okay. So we all start off emulating a director. I emulated a couple. David Fincher, I tried. Couldn't do the million takes. Spike Lee, I wanted all my films to be as black as possible. There were directors in my life that I tried to emulate. Who's that director for you and why?
I did not try to emulate anybody, to be honest. There's directors that I admired and directors that I admired their career and how they were doing things, but I never tried to be like, I guess the closest person, and this is more of a writing thing than a directing thing, but I've always wanted, I like the way that Aaron Sorkin writes.
I was going to say him.
Yeah, I like the way that he writes, and I feel like his influence comes into my writing a lot. Like I just finished this comedy script that I wrote, and there's a direct Aaron Sorkin thing that he does that I specifically tore out of what he does and put it in what I do.
Is it the overlapping dialogue?
It's not that. I love that. But he usually sometimes when somebody asks another character a question in an Aaron Sorkin movie, instead of just answering the question, he gives them this whole long story, and in that story is the answer to the question. And so that.
Okay.
But other than that, of course there's John Singleton and Spike Lee and F.Gary Gray. It's my guy. A bunch of other folks. But I never really wanted to emulate anybody. I was like focused on like being able to set up the shot right and make sure that I'm covering everything so I can tell the story. And then, I guess that's how I've been able to put my own thing, because it's all my own thing. I'm sure but I watch so many movies and television shows and do so many things. I feel like everybody's influence is in there because
subconsciously.
It's subconsciously, but I'm not like, ooh, this is except for the story I just told. I've never been like, oh, this is going to be my Spike Lee thing that I do. I don't do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you said when you just mentioned that you like setting up the shot. Were you more focused on the shot when you started than the acting or the performance, or was it equal?
I would say I was more focused on the performance, because I would say I'm an actor's director. Like I care more about the story and more about the performances than I do the camera work. But I make sure that I have somebody on set that cares about that a whole lot, because I really like I think everything is, not everything, but a lot of it is in the performance, and that's where I'm a people person, so that's where I shine, where I'm best at, working with people and dealing with personalities and getting performances to work. Not that because when you start out, I'm doing everything. Like I'm shooting and I'm doing it all.
So when you had the camera, did you think you could use your brain for pretty much everything, or
it was hard?
Difficult?
It's difficult to do it when you are doing everything, when you've written it and you have the camera in your hand and you're trying to get the performance. It's too much. In my opinion, it's too much to think about to be able to get the best product possible, because I'm not thinking that, oh, there's whatever in this frame and what is this frame telling me and what is this angle like. It's hard for me to think about that when I'm trying to think about the person's performance. And I'm an editor. I was an editor first, so I'm also thinking of how this is going to cut together.
Do you think that makes you a better director, starting off as an editor?
I think so. I think editing makes the process better for every part of filmmaking. I think learning it. I think everybody should learn to edit. I think the actors should learn, the directors, the writer. Like everybody should learn to edit, because it's the final frontier. It's the end where everything comes together. So if you know what you're shooting for and what it's going to look like in the end, then then you can have that conscious mind of what you're trying to create in the beginning.
Okay. So who do you think is the ultimate storyteller in the filmmaking process? Do you think it's the writer, the director, or the editor? Or do you think it's 33% each?
I think it's different for different projects. I think everybody's a writer. I think the director is just a rewrite of a script. I think an editor is just a rewrite of a script. So I think it's a full collaboration. I don't think it's, marketing. It's the whoever the director is their movie. That's just how we see it. But I think there's too many people involved to even put it down to just those three jobs. But yeah, I think it's pretty evenly. Like I've been all three on most of the projects that I've directed. So it's 100% that guy. I'm 100% that guy. But I would love to spread the love out a little bit more in the future.
So for young writers, what advice would you give them starting out? Because we do have some young directors. What
Young
advice would
directors?
you give them starting out? And what do you think is the main thing that makes a director a great director?
Starting out, I think a director should learn to edit. One, learn everything. Take an acting class so you can learn how to speak to an actor in their language. Take a camera class so you can learn how to speak to a director of photography in their language. Like, learn all the positions. Don't think that being a director is just showing up on set and then saying action and cutting, yelling out orders. Like, you have to be able to talk to different people in their different languages. Like, I need to be able to tell the DP, oh, I think we should go with a 75 on this, and know what I'm talking about. And I need to be able to talk to an actor in their language that they've gotten from their acting classes and their training, to be able to talk to them. What was the second part of your question?
What makes a great director? What's the main thing? Do you think that would be talking to the crew, or would that be?
I think it's to have a strong vision and a strong focus on story. Being able to tell a story that makes sense with the beginning and middle and end. That's captivating. I think that's what makes a great director.
Okay. So you worked on a film recently called Fade with my brother Taj.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the challenges that we wouldn't know watching the movie that you had to go through? I understand he was a horrible actor, but
God,
other than that, like, what were some of those
I'm getting
challenges
flashbacks to that again.
that you
Hold on, give me a second.
had to go through?
No, Taj was an actor. No, Taj was, he was there. Taj was there the whole time, for sure. When he showed up. But other than that, I would say the story behind Fade. Because I made Fade once. I made a version of the movie before with a different actor.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah. And that was great. I thought it was great, but it wasn't what I was looking for. So I ended up reshooting to make it again. And
What was missing in the first version?
what was missing in the first version is the element of comedy. It's a comedy, so the drama parts and everything in it was working out well, but
The comedic timing.
the comedic timing, and it just wasn't hitting the way I wanted to. I think I had settled for certain things, and yeah, and then it ended up way ended up. I'm not saying that movie wasn't good. It was still good. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. So it was that aspect, and then past that, when, like I said before, I was about to shoot it again, and then I got hit by a truck, and I was in a wheelchair for 3 months. So I had to wait again to shoot it. No, before the truck was the pandemic. I was about to shoot the weekend the pandemic started. And then, that started, so we couldn't do it. And then I was about to shoot again. I got hit by a truck. And then during the actual shooting, I think the toughest part was I hadn't shot during a pandemic before. So all the COVID protocols and the staying away. Like the the joy I get out of movie making is like being around and with people. So it was hard. Like we can't eat together. We can't like sit together. We can't like that was tough.
I heard about the COVID compliance officer you had.
Yeah, COVID compliance officer, full force. That's all those SAG rules that you have to do that we did all of SAG. We did all of it. That we did all those rules.
He did them all,
And
right? All of them. Everyone.
yeah, all of them. But other than that, it was great. It's like directing is like you know, one of the great joys of my life. So like I can't really complain about the actual process.
Okay. Two-part question. What do you think audiences prefer to watch nowadays? And do you cater to what they want when you're creating, or do you just create what you want to create and hope they accept it?
I think audiences prefer to watch everything. Like there's so many different people that want to watch different things. I think it's really, and to answer the second part of your question, I think you can make what you want to make, and you can find an audience for it, and which is what I do. Like I make the stuff that I want to see, and then I just hope that there's enough people who also want to see it too.
Okay. That's a good answer. Did you attend film school?
I went to college. My degree is in television and digital media production. So I guess that's film school.
Did you learn enough in film school to direct and do everything you needed to, or did you have to learn the majority on your own, YouTube University, etc., books?
I think I learned enough in school during the time, but like that was a lot of years ago, and film is a forever changing thing. So the stuff, like the basics of what I learned then kind of apply today, but there's so much more that's happened since then that you learn. The best part about school is that you have a built-in crew and your classmates and actors and stuff, because everybody in school, we all work on each other's projects. But yeah, I learned a lot. Definitely just getting into work and making stuff and doing things. School is good, but you're definitely not going to learn everything you need to be a filmmaker in a classroom.
Okay. What are some of the toughest aspects of making film in your mind today?
For me, it's the raising money to make the movies you want to make. Like there's the fade that I be shot. That was a short version of the feature length movie that I'm going to make.
What was the budget for that?
The budget for, I don't know what the budget for Faye was. All of that was coming out of my pocket, and I was not counting. It works better when you don't count. There's a lot because for some reason, I'm not a renter. I don't like renting things.
You like owning?
I like owning. So
I'm an owner too.
Owner.
Owners.
So instead of renting a lens or instead of renting a camera, I would buy a camera and I'll buy a lens. And
see, Taj, I'm not the only one. All right.
And that's obviously more expensive, but I feel like it's less expensive because in the long run, I'm not renting a lens for the next movie. I already have the lens I'm going to use. I try to rent stuff that has longevities. So I don't know. If I were to guess, I would say like around somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000 was what it costs to make it. When it's all said and done. But I can't even fathom the cost of the feature length, because there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more special effects. There's a lot more, like a lot to it. But yeah, I think that the money raising part is the hardest part, but still doable.
Okay. So we all have our really tough moments on set, from people being late, not doing the job that they're supposed to do, sleeping on set, et cetera, et cetera. How do you work with a difficult actor or a crew member when you know you need them, but they're difficult?
See, it's different for me. Well, I'll say with crew members, it's different with me because I know how to do everybody's job if it comes down to it. And I'm willing to do everybody's job if it comes down to it. So if you don't If you're here and you don't want to perform, you don't want to be here, you're very welcome to not be here, and I'll do it. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's just how I feel. I feel like I can just, it's fine. Like I'm like when Michael was playing with the Bulls, it's like if we need points, then I'm gonna be the points person. If we need rebounds, then I'm gonna do that. Like if whatever we need, I'm the director, and I've built my career on. I used to be what you were being before I'm being this, so I can do it, and I'll do that, and then I'll figure out later. Like now with an actor, I can't play all the parts, obviously, but I really haven't had too many. I had one actress who said that she can't work like this, and then she bounced.
Like what?
It wasn't even a thing. Like I was directing somebody else's project, and we said the call time was like from I can't remember what the exact call time was, but it was from like 1 to 7. Let's say it was 1 to 7, and we maybe didn't get started shooting until 2. And she couldn't work like that, and she bounced. But she had to be there from 1 to 7, so it wasn't like. And and that's it's a film set. That's what happens.
Creation, pre-production.
Like it's a whole bunch of things that
Setup time.
So, but what we did was we was like, because other actors like, go get her. I was like, I'm not chasing after her. What you doing? And then we just put somebody else in a role, and we ran it through, and it worked. It probably worked out better. So I like those type of challenges, those type of things that pop up because it allows more room for creativity, I think. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So who's your favorite directors now? Like if their movie came out, you have to see it within the first week.
Let's see. F.Gary Gray, I'm going to see that definitely. He's always had. Like if you go look at his filmography, like they're all solid movies. Like I don't think he's had a bad movie. I want to say Ryan Coogler, but he's only made 3 movies. They've all been good, but he's only made 3 movies, so it's not like yes, I'm going to see it because it's a Ryan Coogler movie. A Quentin Tarantino movie, I'm going to see no matter what. Yeah, I don't even need to see a trailer for that. Who else? I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting somebody.
Thomas Cooksey.
Oh, the Thomas Cooksey. Cooksey? Yeah, Thomas Cooksey.
There it is.
I'm going to see that right away.
Classic.
Any amount of money. See that.
If you had to... first of all, I just want to point out that you did say you were the Michael Jordan of directing.
I didn't.
You can point to the camera and
I
let them know.
didn't say that. I said I...
like Michael Jordan on the Knicks, when he had to drop points.
In the style of Michael Jordan.
Just want to clarify that. Michael Jordan, Lavarro
in the
Jones.
style, I take on his style.
Last Dance. If you had the chance to work with any actor or actress, minus Taj, who would it be and why?
If you got to take Taj out, then what's the point, right?
I got it. Make it difficult.
Yeah. Let's see. Any actor or actress. Eddie Murphy.
Budget.
Eddie Murphy's my dream guy. I would love to do a movie. This is my dream cast. I haven't written this movie yet, but I am. It's gonna be a courtroom comedy.
With black people in the courtroom.
Yeah, black people. Whoopi's
nothing funny about that.
Whoopi Goldberg's gonna play the judge. It's gonna have Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock and Chris Tucker and Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle. I think those, and Martin Lawrence. If I can have, I'm gonna put all these guys.
An expensive movie.
We're like good friends, so they'll take pay cuts or whatever to be in it. If I have all those guys, and I'm gonna do a courtroom comedy with those guys. I think
so.
Because the real reason, it doesn't matter. The real reason is because I know that these comedians get together every so often and have dinners. I just want to be invited to the dinner. I want to go to that dinner.
Gotcha.
That's the pitch dinner. List. Yeah, not even a pitch. I just want to be. I think that'd be a hilarious time because I think that they're way funnier when they're just relaxed and talking to each other and not worried about people than they are when they're on stage.
So you don't think they would Doug Williams you and make you feel uncomfortable?
I don't know who that is.
So do you remember the celebrity roast with Jamie Foxx, Shaq?
Oh, Doug Williams. Yeah, I
Doug
thought you said Doug
Williams,
Williams. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm not there
They'd be
to,
like, "Why are you here?"
no, I'm not there to.
Because you wouldn't say anything
No,
to
I
make them
just
laugh.
directed a movie with all of them, and the movies made them all even bigger stars. They love me. So, yeah.
What do you think is the directing job in the film industry? I mean, what do you think is the toughest job in the film industry? Do you think it's directing?
No, it can't be directing. It's so easy. Can't be directing.
Grip?
Maybe I don't know. I think the toughest job is the job if the person doesn't want to be doing it. I think all of them are tough if you don't want to be doing it. Directing, editing, writing, grip. If you don't want to be doing it, I think that's what makes the job tough. Other than that, we're making movies. Like, it's not. I think it's great.
Being a filmmaker takes a lot of expertise and a lot of oomph to stay motivated. What keeps you motivated? Is it strictly just the love of making films, or is it an end goal?
I'm not qualified to do anything else.
I mean, we all can work at McDonald's, FedEx.
No, I'm not qualified to do anything else. That is the number one thing that keeps me motivated to do this, because I don't want to do anything else. I just really love doing what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. You direct films that you write. Do you enjoy directing films that other screenwriters write? How's interpreting those films for you?
When I first started directing, I was doing a lot of directing stuff that other people have written, and I just didn't really like the stories that much. So I started writing my own things, and I'm not actually. I'm growing better at liking writing. I don't like writing that much, but I'm getting better at liking writing. But I have Bubbly Brown Sugar was a web series I did, written by somebody else, and Tamala's a great writer. So
Is that coming back?
yeah, we're actually shooting in a couple weeks.
Okay.
The season 2.
Tell Tamala I said hi.
I will. But yeah, I love doing that. So I guess if the writing is good, and then if the writer is like open to, which Tamala is, like open to like ideas and, different things, and working with this script. If a writer is like writing their script and they're tied to it and it's locked in, and we can't be flexible and like, expand or whatever, then I wouldn't want to do that. But if we can use this script as a guideline for, the movie we're gonna make, then I'm all for it.
Okay. Besides Bubbly Brown Sugar, what are you? You said you're working on a new project, new comedy. What inspired that idea?
I have a lot of actor, like funny friends that I in conversation where it's always a good time, and I said, oh, this would be a good movie if I can write for them and put them all together. And I'm really doing this just to hang out with my friends all day. If I can write these movies for my friends and then have them on set with me and get paid to do it, then it's golden. So that's what inspired this movie. I have a good amount of talented comedic friends, and I love comedy and I love stand up, and that's what this movie is. It's a whodunit that's based in a comedy club. It's a one night thing. So yeah, that's what inspired that particular project.
All right. Final words for myself or a young director starting out.
Do it now. Like, you don't have to wait until you get the budget or until you're better at it. Like this next movie or first movie that you're gonna make, hopefully it would be the worst movie you make, because you're going to come up with more ideas. You're going to come up with more concepts. Don't worry about saving it. Like, you are the generator. Keep generating stuff and keep making movies, but don't wait. If you're waiting for the right time and the right money, the right whatever, you're going to always be waiting. So do it now.
All right. Thank you for coming on my podcast.
No problem.
Director's Chair. My name is Thomas Cooksey. This episode was sponsored by Misterfrostee. This is the RDD podcast. I'm Thomas Cooksey. This is the great, phenomenal Lavarro Jones, the Michael Jordan. The Michael Jordan.
They put a cherry in the top, just so you guys know. When you get the Misterfrostee, there's a cherry up here.
Misterfrostee. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the RDD podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.
So now we talk like we're really doing stuff.
Gotcha.
You know,
And then it fades out.
Yeah.
Do we get up and leave? Oh no, we stay. Oh, okay, get it.
Dinner.
Got it.
Ready.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
me know when that is and I'll come.
Yeah. You'll be the first call I make. Yeah.